then the tower. The health is going to be equal to the health that we passed. The image paths. Did I not have a health here? Health and image. Okay. And now the next thing I need to pass is the image path. And then I need to pass the speed. I need to pass damage. I need to pass the return direction. And then what we'll do is return the enemy. Since we created it. So this will spawn an enemy for us. Okay? And now what we'll do is let's see. We'll have a spawn enemies, which is equal to 0. Spawn enemies is equal to 0. And what we'll do is inside of our while loop, what we'll do is for I in range and then wave, the number of wave, or the wave number that we're on, we're just going to do spawn enemy, or enemy is equal to spawn enemy, and then we have to pass in the distance, which will make it 500. The speed, actually we'll do 400. The speed, the damage, which should be 10, so if 10 hit your tower, you'll lose, and the health will just be 5, and the image will be sprites, spelled badly, sprites, weak enemy. Also, just because of time, I will not be implementing all the different type of enemies and towers, like upgrades and stuff. That would make a very long video. So that will create our enemy, and then we want to actually append that to our enemies list. And this is actually going to execute every frame at the moment, which we don't want. So what we can do is say that we have new wave is equal to true. So when this actually gets called, what we'll do is if new wave is equal to true, then what we'll do is we'll say new wave is equal to false, and we will tab this over. And what we'll do is for each one of these enemies that are spawned, what we'll do is we'll do actually we don't need spawn enemies because we can get the length of the list. Okay? And then what we'll do is if enemies dot, or it's len in Python, length of enemies is equal to 0, then the new wave will be equal to true. One thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make this actually an elif statement so that both cannot execute. So if new wave is equal to true, then it'll do this. If it's equal to false and the length of enemies is equal to 0, then the new wave is equal to true, and we will do wave plus equals 1. So that will work. Now what we want to do is get some click detection. So if event.type is equal to pygame.mouse button down, what we're going to want to do is get the mouse position. So mouse position is going to be equal to our mouse.get position. Okay, and then whenever this is clicked, what we're going to do is we're going to have to loop through all our enemies. So for enemy in enemies, if I said enemy, oops, for enemy, if the enemy dot rect dot collide point, the collide point is basically if we put an x and a y, if that x and y is inside of the rectangle, it's going to return true. So we want to put in the mouse position. So if we touch, what we're going to do is we are going to deal damage to the enemy. So we're going to do enemy dot take damage, and we'll do the 5 damage, which is we'll take all of its health away. Okay, and then what we'll do is inside of entity, we'll have a function here that says do I want to put in entity or no? Yeah, take damage. What we'll do is have a method here. No, we'll do it in main. So what'll happen is it'll take damage if the enemy dot health is less than or equal to 0. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the enemy to null or none for Python, and we're also gonna remove it from the list as well. And we have to remove it from the list first because if we set it to none and then try to remove it, we can't remove it. So we have to remove it from the list, and then we have to set it to none. And then we'll have a score, and we'll increase the score by 1 for that. And what we'll do is we'll actually say the score is increased by a multiple, or basically for every 5, it'll be we'll add 1 point for every kill. Keep it simple for now. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to check if the enemy is touching the tower, which is honestly going to hurt our performance a little bit since it'll be running each frame, but we have to check. So the way that we can check this is inside of our enemy.py, what we can actually do is we can actually pass the rectangle of the tower. So let's see. We first need to create a update method. So def update, what it's going to do is it's going to it's going to call every method, or it's going to call every frame, and it's going to update positions and whatnot. So what we're going to want to pass, what's going to happen is our tower, we're going to call our tower.update method, and then for enemy in enemies, what we're going to do here is we're going to call their update method as well. Enemy.update. Now what we can do is we can check if the tower touches the enemy. So tower.rect.collideRect is going to be the method for this, and we're checking if it's colliding with the enemy.rect. If this is true, then what we're going to do is tower.health is now going to be subtracted by, well, actually, I have a method for this, take damage. It's going to take the amount of damage